doing good. Number 4. Let's do 9n squared plus 10n plus 5 equals 0. A is 9, B is 10, and C is 5. This method is the best method because only one of these would have factored. Number 1 was the only one that would have factored. 2 is irrational, 3 is imaginary, and I think this one's going to be imaginary. I think it's going to have complex answer. So n equals, be sure and use your right variable. The opposite of b will be negative 10. Plus or minus, big square root. 10 squared is already 100. We're going to go ahead and put that. Minus 4 times a, which is 9, times c, which is 5, all over 2 times 9. You have to show that step. You have to show that step. Negative 10 plus or minus, I'm going to let you do the discriminant for me, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. This one is not going to be a perfect square like the 100, negative 100.
It'd be 80. What would be negative?
It's negative 80. Now, we need to go over here on the side and do some breaking down like we did in lesson 29. You ready, Harrison? Okay. So negative 80 is factor tree. I'm going to take the negative off the plate. I'm just going to do the 80, and we'll come back and do its factor. We're going to actually do it down here. So let me scoot up just a little bit. So 2, it's a lot of 2s. 40, 20, 10, 5. So what I'm going to do? Square root of negative 1. This is my scratch work off to the side because I don't really want to do it up here in the problem. And then I've got times 2 squared, times 2 squared, times 5.
Wait, why wouldn't...
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I see. I was thinking of another one.
Okay, we got our I. That's our 1. So I is going to come out. The square root of 2 squared is going to come out. The square root of 2 squared is going to come out. And the 5 is going to stay inside. Now, what is that?
4i.
That's 4i square root of 5. That's what's going to go right here. So watch, we're going to put negative 10. Just like right here on this one. Square root of 13 stayed. Square root of 49 became 7. Square root of negative 100 became 10i. This one is going to become 4i square root of 5. You want to go ahead and separate them? Over 18, over 18. That'll save you a step. Now, will these reduce? What goes into 10 and 18? 2. So you get negative 5 over 9 plus or minus, and I think 2 goes into both of these. So you'll have 2i squared of 5 over 9. And there's your 2 answers. As wild as they look, that is the 2 numbers that work in this equation. It wouldn't have factored. We couldn't do it by square roots. So our only choice is to do what's called completing the square to get this, or go ahead and use the quadratic formula that these mathematicians did for us. Let's do one more. It's got a little bit of a twist to it. 8x squared minus 18 equals 0.
See, I missed some on 29. I already know because I was confused until you showed me.
Okay.
I like those.
Breaking it down.
Like the 2 square, those actually come out, and I didn't realize that came out.
That's okay. You get a chance to correct them. That's why we turn them in now and not the day they're due. So we're getting, should have enforced that first semester. I'm enforcing, as I'm going to say to parents, I'm now enforcing rules that I suggested last semester. So now you have to turn them in on check day so I get an opportunity to let you correct them. And you make better grades on quizzes. A is 8. Now what's B?
1.
Now let's be careful. We got ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So 8's what's in front of your x squared. That's your a. Now b's what's in front of an x. But do I have an x?
No.
If you don't have an x, it's 0. Now a lot of people want to put it in front of the, let me show you what they're thinking. Let me see if I can find a place. I had somebody that wanted to say this. They wanted to say A was 8 and B was the negative 18. Now that's this problem. That's a totally different problem. Look at them. 8x squared minus 18 equals 0, A, B, C. 8x squared minus 18x equals 0 is a different A, B, C. See the difference? Because now the C is the negative 18. So our variable is x equals the opposite of b. The opposite of 0 is just 0. 0 is neutral. It doesn't have a sign. Plus or minus the square root of, what's 0 squared? 0. Minus 4 times a, which is 8, times c, which is negative 18, all over 2 times 8. Now you do the discriminant for me, and I actually may do it for time's sake. Oop, I don't want the x there. I want 0 plus or minus the square root of, and I think it comes out 576, all over 16. Now this one is a unique one because I don't think you would recognize that 576 is a perfect square.
Well, you can tell it's a perfect square by just looking at the
Well,
because it's a positive number.
yeah, you have to be careful. It is a perfect square like 49 was. So it's going to be 0 plus or minus 24 over 16. 0 over, when you separate them, you get 0 over 16 plus or minus 24 over 16. 0 over 16 is just 0. And 24 over 16, I think you can divide by 8, can't you? That's going to be plus or minus 3 halves. And 0 plus or minus, you can leave it like that, or you can just say plus or minus 3 halves. This one would have factored. Actually, this one will work by square roots. This is one that would have worked in lesson 29. Okay, let me stop that.